is coming your...
Welcome to another edition of Diva Diaries. I am your host, Sojo Bolt. You could also call me Josie. I am here with the beautiful and talented and one of my Boo Bears, Taeler Hendrix.
Boo
Hi,
Bear.
you're my Boo Bear.
Love it.
You know that.
Girl crush.
I have a huge crush on you. Of course they do. How are you?
I am amazing and peachy.
I know you are, because you always are.
Yes, peachy.
Thank you for coming and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
You are one of the most interesting young ladies that I think I've ever met in professional wrestling, or in and out of professional wrestling, actually. So I'm really excited to be able to do this interview with you.
Yay, I'm so excited. I think this is my first actual taped interview like this. So.
Yay! I'm your first.
My interview cherry.
You never forget your first.
No, never.
Awesome.
First
well,
love.
no, we keep it positive around here, you know. This is all about you, okay? Just want to know where you're from, you know, how did we get here, basically. So we're going to start at the very beginning. Very beginning.
Okay.
Where are you originally from?
I am from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and I always say that I'm from Boston, but actuality, I'm like 35 minutes south of Boston, right in the harbor.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's where the accent comes from, so.
Blesston.
The harbor.
Oh my goodness, did I say that?
Yeah, yeah, you do. You do. Okay.
Try to hide it.
And I know that you have a sister, and I've met your mom, who is a complete wrestling character. I don't know why your mother doesn't wrestle, because she is amazing. She is a character all unto herself. I've never met anybody like her. Taeler's mom has white hair. She looks like a witch, and she knows it. And she uses it. I remember when I met her. You guys went somewhere downtown in Louisville once, and she knew that she had scared somebody.
Yeah.
And she laughed. She was scared. It's like, woman, you should have been in wrestling how many years ago? Because you're amazing. You're a character. I would book you right now.
She's a woman after your own heart. You do not mess with Becky. I remember she put a guy in the hospital. That's how tough my mom was. Some guy dared to put his hands on my aunt, and yeah, he never did it again.
Love it. I love it. I love it. So she was meant to birth wrestlers then, because she knows what she's doing. She's got. Okay, so that's where you're from. Tell me a little bit about your childhood and kind of, your upbringing, because I know that a lot of that has a lot to do with the woman that you are today.
It's really funny. My childhood, up to the point when I was 5, a lot of people would probably think that it was kind of a terrible childhood, really, but some of my fondest memories come before I was 5 years old, and especially my first memory, it's beautiful. It's something that I will never ever forget, and I'll be 25 this year, so I carry that with me always. I actually have a piece of that right here with me in Charlotte. I carry it everywhere I go, every wrestling show I go to. It's kind of my little keepsake. But up until the point I was 5, it was just me and my mom. My dad left when I was a baby. He didn't want me. He wanted my mom to get an abortion, and my mom had a lot of difficulty actually giving birth to me. I almost died. And I remember she told me that the doctors told her that I was going to be a Down syndrome baby, and she didn't know if she had the strength to raise a child like that on her own. And luckily she kept me. She said she just wanted someone to love her. So she said I saved her, essentially, because she felt like she had nothing else to live for. And I feel like that had a lot to do with my childhood, and that's how I chose to look at it, because growing up with just my mom, it was her way or the highway. You didn't mess with Becky. She was very firm and very strict, but there was a lot of love there. When I was 2 years old, my dad was already gone by then, and we didn't have any money. My mom was on welfare, trying to get an education so she could get a nice job. and take care of us. And I remember she actually waited out in it was either raining or snowing. She waited out there for a couple hours because this place was handing out these little tiny stuffed animals. And she said she wanted me to have something to open on Christmas, which is actually my mom's birthday. It's Christmas Day. So knowing now when I'm an adult, I wish I would have known at 2 to get something for my mom, you know. Mm-hmm. And my mom was always a very kind and caring individual, and I feel like she put a lot of that into her daughters as well. She wanted to make sure everybody had a good Christmas, even though it was her birthday. Mm-hmm. And she said there's always a little something for everybody. And she would we didn't have money, so she would make gifts for everyone in the family. She would make these baskets, and she would bake cookies and put them in these beautiful jars, and then she would decorate them and paint them. And that's actually something that she still does to this day. So I feel like that had a really big impact on who I was. And then next Christmas, I walked into this wonderland of toys. Aww. It was just wall to wall, just toys. I opened up these trolls, and later on I ended up dyeing my hair like that. Rainbow hair. And I actually carry this little Belle Barbie doll dress with me everywhere I go, because that was something I got on my 3rd Christmas. And it just reminded me of my mom and all the times that I would spend with her. We would walk to this restaurant and get pancakes and eggs and bacon. And I always got to go to the jukebox and play The Lion Sleeps Tonight. And then we would sing it and walk home together and go to the park and things like that. It was kind of just Mommy and me. Yeah. We had our own little song. It was nice. And my sister came along when I was 7 with my stepdad. That was really hard because I felt like I had a sister now because I wasn't good enough for him, you know, and I think to this day that's probably something that is one of my biggest regrets in my life, because I feel as though I'm not as close with her as I should be. You know, being 7.5 years older, I'm already starting my adult life, and she's not even done with high school. I missed her first date. I hope to goodness I don't miss her prom. I've missed a lot of really influential things because of wrestling for her, and part of that makes me feel like I'm a failure to her, but I want her to see everything I've done so that way she'll be inspired to fulfill her dreams as well. I feel like that's really important to me, and kind of my way of giving back to her all the things that I was too young and immature to understand and deal with when she came along. So that's pretty much how it was, and I've always been really close with my mom, and I'm really proud of the woman she's become today. She raised us to be very strong and very opinionated but classy and very caring, which is sometimes really hard in wrestling because you want to put all this energy and care into other people, because that's how I was taught growing up, and people don't know how to take that. They take advantage of it, or they just have this morbid aversion to you, and it's very hard, but that's something I've always tried to keep with me and stay humble, and I'm really thankful for that, because even though I grew up with a single mom, I feel like that made all the difference. You know, a nice, strong woman, and I know I don't want to be like, I'm women, hear me roar, but...
Oh, but you are.
You know, but my mom's everything, and I don't know, I feel like that's a beautiful thing that not many people get to have anymore, because everybody's too busy and it's too expensive, and I hope that I'll get to be like her one day.
I think, I have tons of brothers and sisters, but there was a time when my mother was the only female, or actually parental role in my life, and those strong, female figures, they work so hard to make sure that you have everything you need, and you see, maybe you didn't realize at the time that how much they were giving up to make sure that you had everything you needed.
Yes.
I think that is strong in your character, because, I've known you for how many years now, and you're a very caring person. You care a lot, and a lot of times when you're taking care of other people, you don't do for yourself or take care of yourself, the way that you need to, and then take a step back and be like, all right, here we go. Now it's all about me.
But you're a lot like that as well. In all the years I've known you at OVW, you were always taking care of all of us. And I remember stopping going, when is it time for you? And you were like, I got me. And you went, don't you worry about me. But you did this finger thing. You're like, Josie worries about Josie. But it was very, I don't know, that to me, I remember that because I thought to myself, when is it really time for you? Because to me, it's really easy to care about other people and put yourself on the back burner. It's harder to deal with your problems. You know what I mean? Than it is to deal with others.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
That's the hard part.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So let me ask you, when did you actually start watching wrestling? Because wrestling is what brought us here today.
Yes. I don't know how to answer that question. That's the one question every interview I've ever done on the radio has asked me. I don't know if I saw a replay or what, but it was probably one of the most exciting things I'd ever seen on TV. And I'm going to sound so stupid because there was so much better wrestling and good wrestling, but these guys are so entertaining to this day. I saw this Titantron, which I didn't know was called the Titantron then.
Big TV. I saw this big TV.
So I had these 1970s bunk beds, and I really want to illustrate this to capture the moment. It's Christmas Eve. I know my parents are downstairs filling the stockings. So I go up into my bed, I climb it. It's probably about 7 feet high. And I'm sitting on the top bunk, and I turn on my tiny TV, and I'm flipping through the channels going, what am I going to catch that they won't know about? So I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling. And I stop on a channel, and I hear, dun 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 dun. I'm like, what the heck is this? I turn up the volume, and I'm like, okay, shh. And it keeps going, dun 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 dun. And The Rock is in the ring cutting this promo. And you still hear this Titantron, dun dun. And he goes, this eyebrow up. And all of a sudden this guy comes out with like this ponytail or something. And it ended up being the debut of Chris Jericho. And he said, I'm here to save the WWF. And I remember The Rock going, who said the WWF needs saving?
Phenomenal!
And I went, oh my God, this is so cool. What's the WWF? Oh.
What is that? Who are these people? What are they doing?
I remember everybody in elementary school going, suck it, but I didn't know what it meant. I kind of did, but I didn't really. And so that was my first memory that I have of wrestling. And I don't know when I saw that. I know the first pay-per-view I ever saw, because I paid for it, but I don't know when that was. Someone told me a couple years ago that was 1999. But I don't know. But I remember going, oh my goodness, this is the most incredible thing in the world. I have to do this.
And it was an epic moment, too. Chris Jericho to WWF was super epic.
God, I hated him when I was a kid, and now I love him to death because he's so entertaining. I'm just like, wow, you love to hate him.
I love Chris Jericho. His feud with Stephanie was just the best microphone work. Those two would jib at each other. Bam, bam, bam. He would get her, man. She'd get a good line in every now and then, but when Chris Jericho was on his game, he was on his game, and he would shut her down. It was phenomenal. Phenomenal. That's one of the best feuds that ever happened. But on the microphone, I should say. On the microphone. That's one of my top 5 feuds on the microphone.
God, I love mic wars. Oh, they're the best.
Give me a microphone.
Oh,
Save
goodness.
the bunch for somebody else. Okay. Okay. So you were sneaking wrestling into your life as a child because you weren't allowed to watch it.
Yes.
Okay. Now you're growing into a beautiful young lady. You're going to high school. Were you involved in any sports or anything that would have given us a telltale that you were going to be a wrestler?
Everything that I did. I would walk into my kitchen and I would have this brush and I'd be cutting a promo. Oh, Mom, yeah, you cook those mashed potatoes. Oh, yeah, you don't want to know what I would do to those mashed potatoes.
Tell her to suck it.
And she... Oh, no, I would have got smacked in the face.
Smacked in the face.
Boom,
Yeah.
big backhand.
That you would not have liked that.
Oh, no. Little side story. Do you know those little paddles that had the rubber band with the ball attached to them? Well, before my grandmother died, she would pull the ball off and chase us around the house with them and beat my cousins with them when they were bad because I was the youngest. Or she would take our wooden rolling pin. You knew to behave and do your chores. But anyway, so that's what would happen. So I was doing that. I decided in junior high that I wanted to be a wrestler. That's what I was going to do because I loved acting as a kid. I always wanted to be this A-list actress. And I was always very athletic. I loved sports and I've always wanted to travel the world. So I was like, oh my goodness, 3 of my favorite things in the world all combined into one. Hallelujah. So I was a varsity softball athlete. I've been bowling since I was 3. I did drama club as well. I loved that. Oh, loved that. I also did taekwondo, which I use now instead of self-defense.
All about those kicks.
Oh, yeah. What else did I do? I was in Amnesty International.
That sounds right.
Yeah, nerd.
Yeah.
And then I was also the captain of the debate team my senior year. And I feel like that's where I got a lot of my promo skills that I like to use now. Just arguing away with people, left and right, undefeated.
I love that.
I was so good.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I did. And then I tried to get like an artsy background. So I was in the photography club and I was in the bowling club. And I think at one point I was on the chess team. I was terrible. Oh my goodness, slaughtered. So I was busy.
You were busy, but you still, you graduated and you went to college. And what did you study in college?
I was actually a political science major. My university that I went to allowed you to create your own major as long as you could support a thesis for why you should have that major and why they should consider it. So I was actually a political science major with a special sector in sustainability. I'm really big into the environment, and I created my own major so that way I could work for the Secretary of Defense at the White House. I wanted to specialize in environmental warfare. And minor in foreign language, so that way I could be a U.S. diplomat. So that's what I didn't get to finish, but that was my intention if I didn't make it in wrestling.
So, you safe to say that wrestling interrupted your studies?
Yes, because I was wrestling before I finished high school.
Okay.
So before I went to prom, before I had my car, I was already wrestling and training to be some personality. But I also wanted a backup plan. My mother said, I hate this idea. I hate what you want to do. And I hate how it's going to objectify my daughter. But if it's your dream, then I'm going to love you and support you in it. So as long as I had a backup plan, she said. And ironically enough, my backup plan was really similar to wrestling. So it probably wasn't a great safety net. But it was something that I loved and really cared about, and I still want to pursue that as well. So it all worked out.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So you were wrestling while you were in high school. How did that how did that happen?
Okay.
Like who got a hold of you? How did you actually start training before you were, before you had a diploma?
I'm sorry, Bob. A little shout out to Brutal Bob Evans at Ring of Honor.
Look, we love Bob.
Yes, we love
Bob.
He's anything but brutal to me. I always love to say that. When I was 14 years old, I had this friend, and I was a late bloomer. And it was really funny, and I say that for a reason. I do. Because I had a friend who was a really big wrestling fan at the time, this girl. And her name was Alexis, and she had these huge, I won't even say it out loud, but you can figure that out.
Right.
And yes, and she was wearing this tank top at a festival that we were at, and just, it was all there to feast upon. And there was a radio station that was brand new. It was this rock radio station back home. And they were handing out tickets for SmackDown in Providence, Rhode Island. And I was like, oh my God, that's 30 minutes from my house. So I begged her, and basically the gist was if you wore a whole bunch of their stickers all over you and they saw you, they would find you and give you tickets. Okay. So she made like this bodice out of all the tickets, and we were walking around, and I mean, I had a hat on, I had a sticker on the hat, sticker on my t-shirt, whatever, but it was because of her that we got tickets for the show. And I was like, I love you, thank you so much. And my cousin took us to the show, and after the show there was these people handing out these flyers for a wrestling school. It was called Slam Tech Pro Wrestling, and what I didn't know was I'd already seen them on TV.
Oh.
They had their own local commercial.
Okay.
And it's really cool because, Mike Bennett was on that commercial, and this guy named Bryce and a couple of people that are actually in WWE developmental right now and are on TV right now. So I was like, oh, Mom, look at this. Oh, my God, they start taking people at 14. I'm 14. Can I go? Oh, my gosh. She said no. So I was like, oh.
No. That's my dream.
God, no, Mom, please. So I emailed Bob again when I was 15. He was like, okay, ask your mom, this is how much training is, blah, blah, it's in Cranston or wherever it was. Mom said no. 16 came along. I tried again, emailed Bob Evans. I emailed him at least once a year. He probably thought I was so stupid. Mom still said no. And when I was 17, I had found out about this local promotion that was right in my hometown that I didn't even know about. And I begged my friend, who is passed on now, so God rest his soul, to take me, because he knew one of the girls who you ended up wrestling with in Shimmer. And I begged him to take me, so he took me to my local show, and I ended up meeting this guy, and it was like love at first sight. And he ended up being my longtime boyfriend for like 4 years. Throughout my whole adult life, he took me to my prom. He gave me my first drink on my 21st birthday, everything. So he took me to my first trainer when I was 17.
Okay.
I was 17, and that was a Brickhouse Baker in New Bedford. So that was my first time, and then I started wrestling with Anna, who you wrestled with at Shimmer.
Yeah, my tag team partner.
Yeah, she was the veteran. Her and Nikki Rocks. And when I first saw Nikki, I was like, oh, that girl can wrestle a broomstick and it would look good. I want to be just like her. And so I started training after that. And then I went from trainer to trainer. I started training with Spike Dudley shortly before college. And then a little while I was in college. And then I went to a bunch of different trainers until finally, I think like circa 09, I finally got to train with Bob after like 3.5 years.
Hilarious.
So it came full circle.
So what was going on with all these different schools that you were going trainer to trainer? Were they closing down, or were you not happy with the training?
I guess it was a matter of, different people. I didn't want to be a victim of the political system. When I started training to be a wrestler, I didn't want to play the game. I wanted to know that if I made it the right way through hard work and through my own ideals. I didn't want to play that game. So when people were arguing about if you trained at this school, you couldn't do this local show, or vice versa, I was like, well, you're only getting paid $20. I mean, you shouldn't own me for $20. Yeah, you're not going to monopolize me. And plus, I wanted to go where the girls were so I could learn, and I wasn't well liked at the time. I was the new girl. Everybody had already been there for like 3 or more years, and some of the girls weren't even training anymore. So I was always with the guys. So I went from the first training because I didn't feel like I was learning what I needed to learn. So then I went to Top Rope Promotions where Spike Dudley was training.
Okay.
But he was going through a lot of personal issues, and he had to end up leaving. Okay. So then I was being trained by other people, which was nice and all, but I still wanted that trainer, you know what I mean, that be-all, end-all, this is my trainer, I'm going to stick by them, they're going to help me. And that's when I ended up leaving there like 1.5 years later and going to train with a guy named Dan Freitas, who opened up his own school. And I learned so much from Dan because he, even though I was already like several years in, he took me back to the beginning as if I didn't know a thing in the world, started training me on how to actually bump because I'd never actually learned that, and what psychology meant, and because that was always the mystical word that nobody talked about.
It's pretty mystical for psychology.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you need to learn psychology, but I'm only going to say it to make me sound better than you.
It's a big word.
So, and when that happened, that was actually in a 6-sided ring.
Whoa.
So that was very interesting, because I was like, oh my god, there's turnbuckles everywhere. Where do I hit the ropes? And after that is when I finally got to go to Bob. And he started taking me to all these seminars where I got to meet people. And it was really cool.
Sorry. So you're now, you've hooked up with Bob. You're now training. What was it like training with Brutal Bob Evans?
It was anything but brutal. He's a great trainer. I'm really sad that he doesn't still have his own school. I feel like I was really spoiled because I thought paying $40 a month to train with Bob Evans, that's so expensive. But looking at how much I paid to be at Ohio Valley Wrestling, I was like, wow, this is a cakewalk. You know what I mean? But you really got more than triple, because he was a trainer that would come in and have things specifically in mind for you. Like, he'd be like, Taeler, I was watching Velvet McIntyre, and this is what I am going to teach you because this is perfect for you. And he was actually the person who introduced me to her work, and now I love her. She's a mainstay in my character. And he introduced me to Sherry Martel, and I love her. And, I was having a big problem with my character at that point because I really wanted to be like this underdog, One Girl Revolution, baby face, and I didn't know how to portray it on camera. And so then he introduced me to Rock and Robin, and I don't know, it was just amazing. And he didn't just do that for me. He did that for all of his students, Nick Westgate, people I still talk to today. And that to me was very rare, because not all trainers will take the time to focus on each student. And plus he was teaching me things that I had never learned before. He took me out of my comfort zone. And then plus he pushed me to go to all these different seminars. So through Bob, I got to learn from Taeler, Les Thatcher, J.J. Dillon. I went to 3 Ring of Honor seminars. I went to 2 Kevin Kelly promo camps. Like, he just knew exactly what he was doing and what you needed and why. And that was really awesome. And he wasn't doing it for, you know, perverted or sketchy reasons, which I had found in the past with other people. So I knew I was in good hands as a female. And he's actually the reason why I went to OVW with you.
I know.
So because of him, we came full circle here today as well. So.
We love Bob.
Love Brutal Bob.
What's great about Bob is he always preaches, and not in a terrible way. When I say preach, training. You have got to train. You will never stop learning if you keep training. There's always more to learn. And he himself even still trains. He himself is still trying to pick up as much knowledge as possible, because he's trying to be that kind of wrestler.
I love that you love that about him, because not many people recognize that about him. And this is the one negative thing I will say in this interview, because I love positivity. But people do not give Bob enough credit, and people actually shit on him for going to practices and trying to learn and speaking up about things like that. And that breaks my heart, because yeah, he's been wrestling for 15, 18 years, 20 years. But you know what? He still to this day admits every mistake he's ever done and tells you to your face what he's working on right now and what he thinks will help you and what's helped him and vice versa. And he wants to work with all the young guys, not in a preaching way like you said, but to actually work with them, work these new styles and learn these different schools of thought. He goes to people like Truth Martini. He goes to the Ring of Honor seminars and stuff like that. And I remember him saying, the day you think you know everything about this business is the day you should leave. And not many people will say stuff like that and actually live by that, but he does.
Definitely.
I respect that.
I respect him so much, because obviously he's always trying to better himself, but he instilled that in his students as well. I mean, just keep learning, because there's always so much more out there to learn. And you'll never know everything. You'll never know. You're going to forget more. You're gonna forget so much, and that's why we keep training, because we keep going back over those steps so that we don't lose a step. You know what I mean? I love Bob so much. I need to hug him so bad. I know. Bob Evans. Never been a creeper to me. Yeah.
No, never.
So I know you training with Bob. He really pushed you to take all these seminars and learn as much as possible. But I know the first time that I met you was at a custom shoot in Cincinnati. And I remember showing up, you're already in the ring, you're already dressed, you're ready to go, you're up there by yourself even. And I walked in, and my friend Helena was like, oh yeah, that's Taeler. She came in from Boston. She was referred to me from Bob Evans. Yeah, she's gonna be all right. She's gonna be all right. I'm like, look at that. All right, she's cute.
Good things.
Yeah, she's cute. I can work with that. Let's see how she does. You were great.
I was horrified. My trainer, Dan Freitas, wrote our match, that script for our match. Because remember, the fan said, you guys do whatever you want. So Dan Freitas wrote that, and then I had mono.
You were
Thought
sick.
I was going to die.
Yeah, you were sick.
I went into respiratory arrest when I got home.
You see, people can talk all they want about customs, but that is where you meet people, and that's when you find out what people really got. Okay.
Oh my God,
endurance. So that was the first time I met you, and you weren't a fiery redhead at that time. I think you were actually kind of a brunette at that time.
Yeah, I went back and forth. I had just dyed my hair from bright orange because I had neon colored hair. And they were like, yeah, that's probably not the best look for television. So I was like, okay, Vanguard Revolution, yeah.
Let me ask you about the Ring of Honor tryout camps that you did. What, if anything, came of those? What was that like?
It was very nerve-wracking because my ex that I told you I was with for 4 years actually took me to a couple Ring of Honor shows before I was even wrestling. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, these people are so talented. And I remember it was before Samoa Joe got signed to TNA. And I remember seeing him there, and I just remember going, one day I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on this. And then he bought me my first Shimmer DVD, and I was like, one day I'm going to be on that. And you were on that. Nikki Roxx and Anna, they were all on that. Lexi, everybody. Sarah Del Rey. Yeah. And so I, it was a very long day. It was a weekend thing. So you showed up on the Friday. You showed up to help set up the whole show, which is at like 11 a.m. And you don't leave until like 2 o'clock the next morning because you help take down and everything. And then you do the same thing on Saturday, and you make sure you're dressed up. I had a portfolio, everything. I'm doing ring crew and stilettos. I didn't care. And then, you take down the next day, and then you move to the actual school on Sunday, and you do the seminar. I did that, I think, 3 or 4 times, and I loved it because Delirious, he had such attention to detail. He didn't just, take your money and sit on his phone or whatever. He watched every person in that ring, and he was very humble. And Emily, or Daisy Hayes, she was very good to me, and I wasn't expecting it. She took me under her wing. She said she was happy to work with me and work on things because she knew I was green, and I didn't deny it, and I told her I wanted to learn. She was like, we love to hear that, and she was super sweet to me, and it was amazing, and I got a lot of really good things each time that I went, until finally they used me on a couple tapings, and I got to work both Daisy and Sarah Del Rey and got to learn from both of them, who are veterans of their craft. So for someone like me with such little experience at the time, that was amazing. I was honored and terrified, so scared. I remember going, yeah.
I'm doing what?
Yeah.
Who?
And you can see it on my face. I'm like, I'm a Wonder Evolution.
I'm so
in the middle of the Ring of Honor ring.
Where's the camera?
Actually, I did do that, and that was my first lesson. Always know pre-show where the hard cam is.
That's where's the hard cam? Okay, over there. My face that way. Great. Great. Oh, there's gonna be floor cams too. Okay, great. Okay.
So I was very scared, but overall it was a great experience, and I loved every minute of it.
Awesome. And now you're talking about Daisy and who I love dearly, and I miss her terribly. How she heard about your good attitude and your good work ethic, and we'd love to hear that you want to learn, and that you're here, you're setting up, you're ready to go, whatever we need. Had you had some bad experiences up to that point in wrestling? Because I'm assuming that you're already on shows at this point.
Yes, I was. I had a lot of bad experiences, injuries that I still carry with me to this day from the girls back home because I wasn't respected. They said I had an attitude, but I think it was just my personality that came off wrong to them because I'm not an aggressive individual. I don't like confrontation. You've seen me when I'm having an anxiety attack. I close off and I'm just fiddle with my fingers, and I don't even know what's going on at that point. I just black out even though I'm staring at you. But so just based on that alone, I am not, I don't know, I like to think everybody's peachy, we all get along. And one of my trainers that I had was like, always give your ideas, always come with ideas. And that way someone who's more experienced could tell you why that works or why it doesn't, or why if you take that from there and put this here, how much more mileage and things like that you get out of it. But when I was trying to do that, it came off wrong to them. And they took it as I had an ego and that I thought I was better than what I was and all this stuff. So that got me beat up, essentially. And that was really hard. Like, I have a floating bone chip here. I almost had my nose broken. There's a picture of me with just blood gushing out of my nose. And I got chunks of my hair pulled out. This tooth is permanently shifted slightly more than the other one. And my mom put so much money into my teeth, so she was horrified. I got my knee blown. I got so many horrible things done. But it only took one girl to take me under her wing, and I instantly felt better, and that was Mistress Belmont. She was the first woman to be like, it is okay. And she worked with me at my debut for this all-women's promotion back home, and she was just so amazing to this day to me, still wonderful. And that was something I needed a mama bear, and I didn't have one. I didn't have one until you, because Belmont wasn't always around, because they only booked a certain amount of girls per show, and girls back home like to get booked in pairs. So I was always the odd girl out, and always kind of alone, getting beat up, and apparently had a bad attitude.
You know, I feel like that happens a lot, and a lot of people have that very similar story. Cause that happened to me as well when I broke into business. I wasn't well liked, and I was only here to learn, and I wanted it, and that was not appreciated. So there were liberties taken. I just stood up for myself and said, you know what? No more. There'll be no more of this.
See, I respect you for that, because that's not something that, I don't know, I don't stick up for myself pretty much ever, and I don't know, I feel like that probably hinders me more than it helps me, because I don't know, I guess I've never been that type of personality to stick up for myself, but I feel like that is not anybody else's responsibility but my own. But that's something that even in wrestling, in this horrible cutthroat business, I still haven't managed to figure out for myself how to do that, because I feel like that path is different for everybody. And I took the more passive way to do that. What I did was I packed up with less than $1,000 in my account and moved a quarter of the way across the country to OVW.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that was kind of my way of sticking up for myself and giving them the middle finger. But yeah, I didn't voice it. I just kind of just picked up and left.
I did a very similar thing. I said, you know what? I won't wrestle here anymore. These bookings are yours. Wrestle each other. Yay. I'll go over here. I'll go over here and wrestle over here.
Make money.
They want me over there. That's cool. No. Yeah, Terry Funk was on that show.
Is that where you met Miss Natural?
That is where I met Miss Natural.
I remember that.
That's my girl. You know this. That's a totally different interview, and that's totally different. I do want to talk about your arrival to OVW, because it's something that I'm super duper proud of. What people don't know is, you know, when I was at OVW, it wasn't my job, but it was something that I took upon myself to do, is to convince girls to move to Louisville, Kentucky, so that I could have somebody to wrestle. Because at times there was just nobody there. I mean, there was just times where the women's roster was just this big, and who is trying to wrestle the same person 50 times in a row? You know, how do you learn from that? How do you grow? So anytime I could get my hands on somebody new, oh yeah. And you came in during a time OVW was having a working relationship with Ring of Honor. So you came in to do that camp. What an eventful weekend that was. How was that camp? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Wow, you guys are going to think I'm just complete pansies. I was terrified. So about the fifth time in this interview, I was terrified because, let's see, that was December of 2010, I believe. And that was only 2 months after, or 2.5 months after, I did the Jim Cornette OVW camp back in September of 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd already decided at that point that that's where I wanted to be. But I didn't tell you yet. I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. But I was already plotting against you, because I had already pulled Bob aside, and I was like, I want her.
He didn't tell me that.
I'm taking her from you. I'm stealing her away, and she's coming here. Just so you know that. No, we're already working on it.
This is behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes stuff. I grabbed all the girls. I'm like, you all need to get her phone number, and you need to call, text her, email her, Facebook her, all the time.
See, a couple of them told me not to come.
No.
They're like, don't come here. You will regret it. Do not come here.
Yeah, where are they now?
I love them dearly. That camp was really frightening, because I was actually getting to wrestle you at OVW, and I also got to wrestle Sarah Del Rey for her highlight video. And I remember not wanting to screw that up, because, you know, your job for the highlight video is to make that person look good. And I mean, Sarah doesn't need anybody else to make her look good. But I wanted to make sure I took all of her stuff, so that way, you know, she looked larger than life, you know? And plus, I'd never been someone's highlight video before. So I wanted to nail that, like, I wanted to. And I remember there was a couple moves I was so terrified to take. Cause, and one of them, I think, is actually against the Kentucky Boxing Wrestling, the pile driver or something like that.
Yeah, that is outlawed in Kentucky.
Yeah, and that was one of the moves I had to take, and I'd never taken it. And I was just like, oh my God, and I'm freaking out. And I had an anxiety attack. And I remember Bob, I told Bennett, because I was really close to Mike Bennett. And he was like a brother to me. And he flipped out to Bob about it. And then Bob told Jerry Lynn, who was in charge of the Ring of Honor stuff at the show, and Jerry Lynn was like, the one time I ever took something I was uncomfortable with, I couldn't take another bump for 8 years, and I was in so much pain for years. He was like, don't do it. And it was nothing against Sarah. I mean, she didn't know. I didn't have the heart to tell her that I was too scared to take it. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm shitting on her or anything, because it wasn't her fault. Or Claudio's at that point either. It was a case of me not sticking up for myself and be like, hey, I don't know how to take this. I'm scared. So long story short, I didn't have to take it. I did our highlight video. I hope it was good enough to this day. I have no idea. And then I got to wrestle you as well, which is really fun. I still have one of those pictures. Most intense lockup of my career.
Intense lockup.
I was like, Soju, how do we work a lockup in a match? And you're like, this is how we do it. I'll show you. Which is really awesome. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't necessarily remember that conversation, but I do remember that match because I remember wearing purple.
Yeah, we were both. You had purple pants, and then I had purple trim.
And fun fact, I forgot my belt that day, I think.
Nylon, right?
So I used nylon to secure my pants on, and that just happened to be the day CM Punk stopped by to say hi. I was like, this is awesome. This is great. This is my life. This is what happens to me.
I remember that. That was the day, I met Punk as well that day, and I was embarrassed because I got a concussion. And he was like, are you okay? And I was just like, I'm meeting CM Punk. I'm okay.
Is this a dream?
Really? No, I wasn't okay. Severe concussion. I was like, yeah, I'm great. I'm tough.
Yay!
Yeah, wrestler.
Be a diva.
But yeah, I knew that's where I wanted to be. Everybody was so kind to me. I wanted to come there and be a part of this sort of family that I thought encompassed OVW, where, you know, I don't know, everybody was so supportive, and I wanted to train with Rip so bad, like, you know, and I actually tried to go to OVW straight out of high school like Serena did, but my school messed up my transcript, so it never made it to Kentucky. It was supposed to go to a school in Lexington and drive. So, but, you know, everything happens for a reason.
It all worked out. It all worked out. You eventually got there in your own way.
And you thought I wasn't going to come.
No.
Fun fact, she didn't think I was coming.
No. I mean, I had everybody working on it. I mean, we were working on it. But I was like, she's not coming. She's not coming. She's not coming. She's not coming. Stop. She's not coming. She's not coming.
Proved your ass wrong.
Good. Great. I'm glad you did. I'm so glad you did, because life was never the same again. No, and then when I finally, you know, got the message that you were like, I'm coming, here I come, I'm packing up all stuff.
I surprised you on the day I didn't know it was your birthday. I just showed up out of the blue.
Showed up on my birthday.
I was like, I've been living here for almost a week now. You're like, what?
I was like, this is the best birthday present I've ever had. By the way, my birthday party's tonight. Come on down. And I think it was Glee. I think it was
it was Glee.
It was Glee themed.
You were Jane Lynch.
I was Jane Lynch. I was Sue Sylvester yelling at people. If it's my birthday, it's not Halloween.
Karaoke.
Those were good times. Those were good times. I have those pictures still. Oh, I should pull those up.
No.
No, we're pulling those pictures up.
Oh.
Okay, so you get to OVW.
Yes.
You sign up. You're ready. What was it like? I mean, I was there, but they weren't here.
Oh, guys. That was terrifying.
You're always scared. You're scared.
I was. You know, you wait your whole life for that one moment, and I did exactly what you told me to do. Show up to Rip's class, keep my mouth shut, and I can't wrestle because I don't have a license, blah, blah, blah. He goes, who the are you? And I'm like, I'm Taeler. And he's like, well, you here to train or not? I'm like, I was told I couldn't. I don't have my license. He's like, license, but I'm not going to do all his expletives. But,
Not the swears.
oh yeah, and he was like, go to the ATM, get money, and come back here and get in the ring. And I remember calling you like, Josie, oh my God, almost crying. And then lo and behold, Josie, Mama Bear, shows up, and I'm in practice learning how to do a high spot. I didn't even know what the heck that was called.
So I'm sitting there at the desk. I'm like, look at her. Look how cute she is. Oh, she wants to be a wrestler. She's trying. Look at this effort. I can get behind this. I can get behind this. And he's like, Josie, I haven't looked at a white woman since 1982. Are you serious? I'm like, yes, Rip, I know. I know. But she's going to be great. Don't worry. She's going to be great.
He hates me.
He does not hate you. He hates everybody. He hates everybody.
All I ever wanted was to be approved by Rip. But, you know, I do know my mistake was showing that I got disappointed. Because...
It's in your face.
Yes, because I want to get something right so bad. I'm a perfectionist, and I guess in this business that's not good. But whenever I couldn't understand something or not get it right, I would get mad at myself. Not at the trainer, at myself. And I guess that was a sign of bad attitude, but to me that was a good attitude because it shows that you care. But yeah, that's what we talked about earlier with like people not understanding you, or different types of people respond in different ways. So crap happens.
Look, but you showed up. Look, you showed up. That's,
every week.
You showed up, and that's like the biggest step, is just showing up.
2 years every week. Driving back in the middle of the night from Memphis to get back to Kentucky so I could go to practice.
Looped out, our minds cracked out on caffeine. Crying in the middle of a subway.
I don't remember that.
I do. I remember you broke down in the middle of a subway just crying because we're so tired, because we had done customs all weekend. It's like, I'm so tired. And I was like, oh my God, it's okay, please. Oh, it's going to be okay. Get this girl Diet Coke. Get her Diet Coke.
Because I was probably afraid I was going to fall asleep in the middle of a high spot drill with Rip Rogers.
Like, we have got to get her back in time for practice.
Dedication right there. Fans, that's dedication.
No excuse, show up for practice. No excuse. I don't care where you are.
And never forget your money, ever. That's the one mistake I never ever made. I never once owed Rip Rogers money, ever.
Pay him his money. There were days where I showed up and paid him and didn't train. Oh, yeah. But guess what? He got his money. He got his money. I was like, oh.
Nope. Even when I was sick, I showed up to practice, and I tore that ligament in my foot. Remember the sympathy tips at the restaurant? Yeah, I still chained. I still chain wrestled like that, paid my money, and did promos. I didn't do a high spot or anything, but...
This cute little girl at a restaurant with her little Frankenstein boot on, hobbling, carrying a little chocolate milk. Like, I'll never forget that. I will never forget that.
I think that was the most money I ever made as a server.
Oh, these are the greatest memories in the world. They really are.
For you, maybe.
They're excellent for me. And that's why we're putting them on tape. Okay, so you're at OVW now. You are training with Rip Rogers. And because I was there, I don't have to tell the story, they threw you into the fire right away. They just like, oh, she's here. We gotta use her.
Yeah.
Tell me about that whirlwind.
I didn't understand it. And I was afraid of it. Not terrified this time. Afraid.
Just afraid.
Because that's when I found out I was getting the OVW women's title. And for those of you that don't know, that's the only belt the girls at OVW have. We don't have tag belts. We don't have anything. That is our only belt. And people like you and Katie Lee and Mickey James and Beth Phoenix have all held that belt. And all of a sudden, Taeler Hendrix, has the belt. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to carry this division now. And that is when you threw me through a loop as well, because not only did Al say, you're getting the title, and I remember standing in front of you going, and I said, why? And you bawled your eyes out laughing, and Al just looked at me and went, and walked out in his Al Snow way.
Al Snow.
He just goes, with his little glasses.
Yeah.
And you just start busting out laughing, and you go, it's going to be okay. And I just thought to myself, oh my God. And then you threw me for a loop right after that, because you were like, well, you're the champ now, and guess what? You now have experience that the other girls don't have now because they don't go to practice anymore. You now have to learn how to lead people. And that was probably the best thing that you ever did for me, because it was at that point that I couldn't shut up anymore and just listen. I had to learn how to lead. And it started off rotten, but I was really thankful to make those mistakes. And on TV, too, so I could watch it back and be like, oh, that worked, that didn't work, why, and so forth.
Well, that's the great thing about OVW is they tape everything. Everything is taped. TV show on Wednesday night, house shows Thursday through Sunday, sometimes on
don't
Tuesday.
Want it.
Taping everything. Taping everything so you can watch back everything and learn. Everything from promo to your footwork. I mean,
oh, yeah.
I mean, so appreciative for all that footage and being able to watch all that stuff back, That's one, actually, I did an interview just a couple days ago talking about OVW and how, it wasn't just a wrestling school. It was just almost the most intensive training for if you ever want to work in entertainment business for in any way capacity. OVW could do that for you, because I learned so much about production work, script writing, booking shows, promoting shows. You learn the ins and outs of wrestling, not just wrestling. Super thankful. And of course, as we transition into other parts of our lives, acting, and me,
life in general,
you can take all those skills with you. It's like, I know how to do that. No. Oh, you want to run a show? Oh, yeah, I can do that. No problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got this.
I feel like when I moved to OVW, I wasn't an adult yet. I'd never lived on my own. It was too expensive in New England to live on your own
yeah.
at 22 years old. And that was when I'd never lived on my own. I'd never had to buy my own groceries, I paid my own bills, but now I had to learn how to pay my own bills and so forth, and how to make ends meet. It made me grow up. It made me become an adult. I learned so many life lessons at OVW. I learned how to read people somewhat, how to learn how to take care of myself, how to keep a roof over my head, food to eat, how to perform as if my life depended on it. Like, how am I going to eat today? By performing in that match. That's how I'm going to eat tonight.
You know? I have no money.
So it was really cool. I think that's something that people don't understand, because a lot of people on the independent scene or that have never been to OVW, they don't understand the stigma of what OVW is. They've never drank the Kool-Aid.
No.
They don't get it, and it really is its own entity. It's its own breed. It's not just a school.
Yeah, it is a lifestyle.
I'm so thankful. It's
is a lifestyle.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
That's a t-shirt, girl. That's a t-shirt right there.
OVW isn't a school. It's a lifestyle. Marketing.
Yeah, you can have that. Go ahead.
Hashtag.
And that's actually the case for a lot of people, because they show up there young and just trying to figure all this stuff out. I remember sitting with you with a Sunday paper and showing you how to clip coupons.
Oh yeah, I'm still not good at it. I was like, wait, you get coupons in the Sunday newspaper?
Yes, girl, and they'll double this one. You'll get $1 off. What? Oh!
Remember when I called you that day I was homeless?
Yeah.
And I slept in my car because I didn't have a home?
Yeah. Like,
and then you got concerned that I was living at what you called the slacker house.
I was like, you can't
after
live there.
that.
You cannot live there.
And I quit that preschool teaching job after a half a day.
You moved 7 times in 2 years. Like, you moved
9
times.
9 times. And I was homeless for a whole day. Slept in my car. My poor cat. By the way, I moved with a cat.
Yeah. That's why you couldn't stay with me, because I'm allergic.
Yes. My poor old man.
But
He's
you did
15
say
this year.
If you just called, we could have set something up. I was just like, I didn't want to bother you. I'm like, you were not bothering me.
It was a surprise. Like, Taeler Hendrix is here. And by the way, when I moved to OVW, no one told me that I could change my name if I wanted.
You could. Yeah.
I've been stuck with that name forever. Thanks, Rich Bass. You know who you are. Love you dearly.
You could have changed your name. You could change your name now. You're not stuck with that name. Look, if WWE
it's better than whatever I
if WWE calls, they're changing your name. So, like, they're going to own that shit.
I remember the name I picked out for myself was Taeler Thomas. No. Terrible. Hendrix was way better. Thank you, Rich. No. You knew what you were doing.
That's right. No, that's a terrible idea.
I was so set on it too. I was like, yeah, Taeler Thomas, TT.
So we have wrestled each other a million times, and you're one of my favorite people to get in the ring with.
Aw,
but like that first feud that you had at OVW with me, because we knew we were building towards you getting the belt, and it was so exciting because you were so fresh and so new, and you wanted to learn, and you were all about some old school, because that's all I do is old school. But one of my favorite times at OVW is when actually I was not wrestling anymore, and I took over the company.
Joe VW.
Yeah. And it was it was that Wednesday where I took over the show and had split the roster in half, and everybody was standing on the outside, and we had already decided that you needed to be a heel. Like,
see, no one told me that.
Oh, we don't talk to you about nothing.
Of course not.
I was like, because, I mean, I love Taeler Hendrix. We all love Taeler Hendrix, but the crowd was not connecting with Taeler Hendrix.
Oh, they hated me.
They were rejecting you, and you know what? They do what they want.
Taeler Hendrix is a yelping chihuahua.
Oh!
Do you remember that? And they posted my face on a chihuahua body. Wherever that fan is to this day, thank you.
I know.
You made me so self-conscious that I got to be a better performer.
It was the best thing that ever happened. It was the best thing that ever happened, because when Al goes, we gotta turn her heel, I was like, you have to turn her heel. You have to turn her heel. You have to. And here I am in the middle of this corporate takeover, and I'm asking people, I'm like, who's joining me? Who wants to join the new OVW? Boom, this bitch gets in the ring with her little outfit, with her little boyfriend behind her, and oh, it was on. It was so on. And it was so perfect. It was just the most perfect fit for you, because you are actually a natural heel. You are.
That's another question for this interview in a little while. But that was actually what the fans don't know is that was the first day of Heidi Lovelace as well. She was in the crowd that day, and she had no idea why the fans hated me so bad, because she only knew me by this girl that messaged her, and I was like, hey, you know, Dylan Bostic mentioned your name. I looked you up on YouTube. I would love to have you come here, but this is what Josie's going to say to you. Are you this or are you that? We don't want that, so I hope you're this. And, you know, if you are, we'd be happy to have you. And so that's her experience of me so far without meeting me. And then all of a sudden she just comes to a show and sees everybody boom, and she's like, oh my God, what did I get into?
You stepped in it.
Such a happy day. And did anybody ever tell you that Danny Davis got mad at Al and was like, what are you doing? She's not a heel. She can't do this. It's going to be terrible. I made him step in it. Take that, Danny Davis.
No, because I was in the office, and Danny was on board after he saw that. He was on board. He's like, I told you, she needed to be a heel. Like, heck yeah. Because Tommy Dreamer told me once, he was like, it's the girls who are the naturally smiley and happy and positive ones who are the best heels.
He stole that from Betty Davis.
Did he?
Yeah, she said that about Joan Crawford.
Oh.
She said the people that are genuinely good people in real life are your antagonists on film. And the people like Joan Crawford who are bitches in real life are the heroines of the films. And she was right. It's easier to play something you aren't,
Exactly.
I feel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's all right. You can play footsie with me. I don't mind.
Ooh. Tommy Dreamer.
Good. Yeah.
He scared me the first time I met him. He
Where?
did not have a good opinion of me.
Oh, where did you meet Tommy?
I was a fill-in for Taeler in my first time ever wrestling in New York, and it was my first star that I got to wrestle. I got to wrestle Kia, Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
And she led me so good, so well.
She's a pro.
She's an encyclopedia for wrestling, that woman, and she was super sweet to me, because here I am a fill-in, so I have nothing to do with the show. I'm winning too when I shouldn't have, but I was filling in for somebody else, and she was so great.
Another sweet person who is an amazing heel.
Yes, she was so good. She was a heel in that match too, and she was so amazing. And I just remember him going, you need to get a tan, do some P90X, and she led you. You need to go to training. I'm like, I'm great. But yeah, it was summer of 2010. I wrestled her. She was, to this day, she's such a sweetheart. Like, it's so nice to see when fame doesn't turn people nasty. Like, she's a great person.
Absolutely.
Great person.
Agreed. Okay. So we're still in our OVW time. I know, right? So everything took off pretty quick. Like, you won the title, you held on to it for a while, you had some challengers, I took over the company, you were in full bitch mode.
Gingerlicious.
And we always had this banter. There's always this behind-the-scene banter that they would just kind of put on camera every now and then.
Mike Wars, I loved it. You're
I
my
love
favorite
that.
Mike War person.
Yeah. Just our backstage stuff was always so good. It'd be like, ooh, see you're still buying your hair extensions at Kroger. Like super funny
I used to
stuff.
get so mad at you because you would always get the good lines. I'd be like, shit, why didn't I come up with that first?
I just thought of that. On the fly. Yeah.
Giving you the hot cup of Joe, just the
All those phantom kicks. All those phantom kicks. All right. No, we're getting there. Not too long after all of that started, Al came back to OVW, and then Al was the new talent relations and backstage agent for TNA. And I had already done that. And he was now in charge of this new concept called Gut Check. You were working hard. You had your diet on point. You looked good. And how did you know? How did he tell you? He's like, we're putting you on a Gut Check.
I didn't know. That was... You say that everything was on point, but to be honest with you, I was already very disappointed at that point because I didn't feel like I was part of a family anywhere. And I remember you telling me, it's because you're new, you know, you'll get welcomed eventually, you know, it just takes time. But I was never welcomed into what I thought, and I left New England not being a part of a family. And, you know, I left my little sister behind, I left my mother behind, I left, you know, my whole family behind. And any friends that I kind of had, like, I didn't hear from again. you know? So I was completely alone when I moved to OVW, and it was a very lonely experience and a very sobering one. So by that time, right before Gut Check was actually right before my birthday, and I was about to turn 23 years old, and I thought, I'm 23 years old, what have I done? You know, and I went through all the things that I've done. And I'm like, wow, you know, that's actually pretty impressive for someone who's only 23. But I wanted more. You know, I wanted to be a part of the stigma. I wanted to be a part of a family. I wanted to know that when I got married one day that I was going to be able to have bridesmaids, you know, that knew me inside and out, who wanted to share that special day with me. Someone that I could, you know, name the godparent of my future children and things like that. Those things have always been very important to me. You know, especially after the whole cancer stuff that I'm still going through, that hit really hard right before OVW, and you knew that. So right before I found out about Gut Check, I was already very disgruntled, very upset, very lonely and let down. And one night I'm just at OVW thinking to myself, I hate the way I look, I hate what I'm doing, and I hate myself. What more do I want? That's the complete opposite of who I am as an individual. I don't recognize that person. Who am I looking at myself in the mirror? And then all of a sudden, here comes Al Snow down the hallway while I'm in my own little world, smiling, but on the inside crying. And he goes, Taeler, Gut Check, see me after TV. And he did one of those things and walked back into the production room, and I go, what? I almost didn't get it. And so after the show, I go over to him, and I don't even remember what he said. I just remember thinking, in a week, it's my 23rd birthday, and then in like 2 weeks after that, I'm going to be on national television. I finally did it. I finally proved I'm worth something. And that was awesome, and it was scary, and it was so cool because I was like, I finally hit that pinnacle. I finally, you know, I've been working my butt off every single week, you know, and it was a great payoff. It was. I think I'm the youngest knockout. I mean, I appeared on television mere weeks after my 23rd birthday. And that was a really cool accomplishment for me. And I thought I did really well. I was so nervous. And I got to wrestle a woman who was one of the first women I ever saw on television. And I idolized her, and she's the reason why I finally moved to OVW. A little side note, wrestling her was probably one of the most amazing things for me, and I remember you hoping it would be her, but nobody knew because they didn't tell me until after I got there. I messaged her on Facebook one day, out of the blue, upset because I was getting beat up back home, and I didn't know what to do, and I wasn't learning anymore, and Bob shut down his school because people didn't want to go. And she actually responded back. And not many people would do that, you know what I mean? Not many people really acknowledge their fans. And she didn't know me from home. She didn't know I was a wrestler. And I told her, this is what's going on. This is what I kind of have planned. What should I do? And she was like, go see Josie. Go move to OVW. That's the place you got to be. And more words than that. And so, you know what? A couple months later, I did just that. I packed up, broke down on the way.
I know!
I drove through a tropical storm that shut down major highways throughout up and down the coast, flooded completely, and finally made it.
Yeah.
And so then all of that, all of the cancer, all of the, you know, everything I went through was finally idolized in that moment. And I felt like I nailed it, you know, with very few mistakes. And I was like, wow.
Hashtag nailed it, yes.
Yeah. No, real nailed it, too.
Yeah,
Not
really
sarcastic,
nailed it. No, she nailed it.
So that was, it was a really great moment for me. And I felt like I did my home proud, and I did OVW proud, because even though I'm from New England, I really wanted to represent OVW on TV, because it's a place that I believe in. And I wanted to just take it to the moon.
You did. You took it to the moon. You took it beyond the moon, in fact. What was so exciting about it, I'm sitting on the couch, I know this is the day, I'm freaking out, and I'm like, no, today's the day, she's going to be on today, this is it, we're going to watch it, okay, here we go, and I'm sitting, I can't sit down, then I'm sitting down, then I'm standing up, I'm like, I can't contain myself. You did so well. You listened, and you did so well, and the crowd response was incredible. Like,
I've never felt that loved in my life. Like, the Impact Zone to this day is probably my favorite place to perform, because I don't know, they hadn't seen me in almost a whole year, and I come out and them not knowing that I was going to be there, and I just, in that pay-per-view, with you. I'm randomly a heel for no reason at all.
Okay.
No reason. And I remembered they were not having any of it, and it made my job that much harder. And you and I were like, no, we're getting them to boo me by the time I leave this arena. And I remember saying that to you in the ring right before I threw my skirt. I was like, I'm going to make them hate me. I swear to goodness.
I hate jumping forward, but let's talk about that for a moment, because
God, I love the Impact
I love
Zone.
that.
I love you guys.
Yeah, we all love the Impact Zone for many reasons. The catering is bomb.
I never ate it. Wait, I think I did one plate, I think.
When we showed up for one night only, we still didn't know who we were wrestling.
Yeah.
We still didn't know who we were wrestling. We got off the plane. We get in the cab. We got there. It was an hour. We had an hour and a half to find out who we were wrestling, get into hair and makeup. My gear was still being sewn together at that very moment. Like, literally, it was still in pieces. You were in the cab, paying for the cab. I am running in heels into Universal, and I just happened to run into Pat, who was the agent at that time. I'm like,
him.
who am I wrestling? What's going on? And he's like, you're wrestling a tag match. Two Blossoms and Taeler Hendrix. I'm like, well, we only have one Blossom, so it must be a three-way. Okay, great, thank you. All right, run into hair and makeup. Like, we are here. And of course, because, the ladies who do hair and makeup at TNA aren't very nice. Hey, ladies, let's go ahead and shut hair and makeup down. I'm like, no, because, it's only like an hour of showtime. And my outfit's not made. We're going to make this happen. We're going to make this happen. We're going to make this happen. Putting ideas together, pulling together, three-way. What are we going to do? Oh, you need to take pictures, and you need to cut a promo. My gear's not put together yet. Okay, no. We got this. And the funniest thing that you've ever done, because, you say that you're not a natural comedian, but you're hilarious. You walked in and said, Josie, I'm confused. It says here that you're wrestling Taeler and Blossoms. Who am I wrestling? I looked at you and I said, you are Taeler. You're Taeler.
I thought Gail Kim told me I was tagging with Taylor Wilde against you and the Blossoms. Because she said it so straight-faced, too, but I must have just heard her wrong, because I was rushing to find a place to get changed. So I'm like, I'm wrestling Taylor Wilde? No!
No, you're Taeler. You are Taeler.
I'm Taeler.
Today you are Taeler.
Oh.
I'm still Josie.
I think that's exactly what you said.
That's probably yeah. I remember Brooke Hogan sitting there staring at me like, I'm like, I got this. No, I got this. No, don't.
Bless her heart, by the way. Yeah. I love that woman to death.
I don't know her.
So you know how they wanted to shut down makeup? Mm-hmm. Well, I cried, actually. And this is making me sound like such a pansy, but every time I've cried, it's been justified. They didn't want to do my hair and makeup. Mm-hmm. But they spent time on somebody else's that was in our match, so I was just like, why is she getting made beautiful and I'm not? Mm-hmm. And so you know what? Brooke Hogan stood up, and without complaining at all, she grabbed a hair straightener and she straightened my hair for me, while somebody slapped some makeup on and it didn't even look good. And I was so upset because I'm not a rude person. I don't, you know what I mean? I've never disrespected anybody.
They put us in a very bad position.
And then plus the cab showed up late because our plane was late. And then on top of that, he took the wrong way. And then on top of that, he triple charged me. So then I had to try to get that issue straightened. So then I'm the last one to be getting ready. And then people were making fun of my wrestling gear. My brand new gear that I had to wear because my other gear didn't come in on time. And then the one that did come in on time didn't fit at all. And everybody complimented it, and then as soon as I left hair and makeup and the door shut, I was answering a text message, and I heard people making fun of me. And I was so upset at that point, I just wanted to go home, because I was like, this is the worst possible scenario. And then all of a sudden, I'm a heel persona when I've never been anything but a babyface on their program. And I'm like, what's my reason? What's my, not trying to be a diva, but I'm like, what's going on? What am I supposed to do? And then I was like, oh yeah, I've taken that finish before. And they're like, okay, well, you've taken it, so you're losing. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, I don't work here, so there's no need for me.
So
but
I was very upset.
We had such a good time in that match.
We did.
We had so much. We totally stole the show. And when your skirt fell off, literally, your skirt fell off, and it fell off at the most amazing time. It was the most perfect thing. It's one of those perfect wrestling moments. Your skirt fell off. And she looked down, she looked at me, she picked it up, and she threw it in my face. And it was awesome. That's one of those badass wrestling moments.
I think I did this too.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did. And my mouth was like, and I'm thinking to myself, I love her so much. I love her so much.
And I remember I messed up that one spot, but I could have sworn I did it right and you did it wrong. And you just looked at me, what are you doing? I'm like, it's okay, it works. And you just looked at me like, don't you talk to me like that. I'm like, I'm sorry. And you see my face go like this. And I'm like,
I saw the crumple in your face. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and cover her right now. Okay, great. Okay, kick out. Great. Let's move on. Let's move on.
I told you I hate controversy, even in the middle of a match.
Are you serious? Is this happening?
I was like,
Is this day? I haven't eaten today. I mean, it was just like the most cracked out time, but you know, we got through it. We got through it. It's fine.
So much fun. We did steal the show.
We did steal the show. Amber O'Neil was in the audience,
and so was Daphne.
Yeah, they were hanging out, and she calls me at and then she's like, "Girl, you went out there. You and Taeler are the shit. You two together are fucking money." I'm like, "I know. That's my bitch."
Remember that time we both went and tagged together and wore "I Love Being Black" shirts? I love being black.
Yeah. The palest girl in the world. She loves being black.
And I tried to drop it like it was hot. I love OVW house shows.
Yeah. We try out new stuff.
I made Epiphany pee yourself laughing.
Okay, we just skipped over a whole bunch of stuff. So
yes, I'm sorry.
I want to backtrack.
I
want to backtrack just a little bit. Teenage Gut Check happened.
Oh yeah.
You wrestled Tara, who we know and acknowledge and love. Then you had to come back and do the judging part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Al, Pritchard, and at the time the third person was, who was the third person? Taz. Okay. How did that go? Like, what was that like?
I didn't want to be, I guess, a mark for myself. So I didn't ask anybody what was going to happen in my segment.
Mm-hmm.
I just made sure that I was going to prove to them that I could talk on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, be prepared just in case you're going to kick out. But I was like, I know they're going to make me kick out. I'm not a fool. So I made sure I had a promo, and I made sure I knew I could nail it within the allotted time without them cutting me off. So I made sure I schooled them on that. Thank you, Jeremy Borash.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember really liking it, too, and I felt like that was the one time that hair and makeup made me look good. I felt really sassy, and I got airbrushed. I was like, oh, look at me, I got a tan. So I went into that feeling really good, and I was like, no matter what, if I get told yes or no, I'm okay with it, because in some way, shape, or form, I made it, and I showed them what my school is all about and what I'm all about, and at the end of the day, that's the only thing you can do. So I was pretty confident, but my plane broke down. I was on the same plane as Al Snow, and we were going to have to get a rental car, and I remember going up to Al panicking because I was like, Al, I'm not old enough to run a rental car. If we get stuck here in Atlanta, I have no way of getting to Florida. And he was like, you know what, you're right, you can just hop in a car with me. At this point, we'll get there faster in a car than on this plane. Our plane, something inside of our plane's engine caught on fire.
Oh, wow.
But they told us we could stay on the plane. And then an hour later, they walked us off the plane. I'm like, well, if it was on fire, why were we still in the plane?
Okay.
So our plane got delayed almost 3 hours, and then I ended up getting a rental car with Al Snow and getting to the show. So I was like, you know what? The worst has already happened. I'm okay. I made it here, and I nailed it. And when they told me, when Al Snow said no to me, I got mad because I was like, you should know me by now. I am not a diva. Okay, I'm not someone who's just gonna flip out like that. And I remember that having something to do with why his character said no to me.
Okay.
And I'm like, you don't know what I'm gonna turn out to be like. Are you kidding me right now? Are you, really? Really? After I'm one of the only girls at OVW that goes to practice every week.
I'm the one.
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, I'll let that go. This is probably scripted. And when Pritchard said I had class, and I was like, yeah, damn straight I got class. Classy but sassy. So I was like, yes, I'm a knockout. And I was told that I actually wasn't supposed to make it. But who knows? That could be just people, whatever. So I let it go. I was like, yeah, you're probably just jealous. Whatever. And nobody told me that there was like a Joey Ryan part of my segment. And I didn't tell Al Snow this until we were at Hooters one day, like almost a year later. And so you know that he interferes at the end with the whole Taz build-up that ended up being him and Al. Well, no one told me that was happening. I got mad. You see me go, this is my time! And I'm yelling at Joey Ryan.
That is where that picture came from.
Yeah,
There's a picture of you doing this. your hair is bright red and the lights are coming behind you and you're wearing the blue with the neon green outfit, and it was so amazing. It's the best bitch face you've ever done.
That picture is one of 2 pictures. There's one that appears a lot where I'm yelling at Joy Ryan. Me yelling at Joy Ryan is and then one where I'm kind of like this at the same way is also me cutting my promo saying I'm hungry. So people made jokes, sexual jokes about me being hungry. I don't know. And you see me get up, and then I don't know if the cameras will see me, so I won't do it. And then you see me go. I wind up like I'm about to run, and I start to run, and then I just stop and sit on the ropes like this, and then I yell at Joy Ryan. That was the first and only time in a match I've ever considered a dive. I wanted to dive and just punch him right in the face, and I almost did it. And Alsa was like, "Oh my God, why didn't you?" I'm like, "I didn't even know if I was signed yet."
Al always says that. Well, why'd you do it? Like, because you would have been mad at me.
Exactly.
You would have been mad.
So yeah, you clearly see me go,
yeah.
But I never really told anybody that, so that's an exclusive.
Okay, so Joy Ryan, here comes the decision. It's a yes. It's a yes. And you fell to your knees, and it was like the heavens had opened up. I think we all fell to our knees, like, oh, she did it.
Genuine.
She did it.
I don't think anybody really expected me to make it, you know. I'm just this young up-and-comer, you know. I don't think anybody really anticipated it. I know I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting a no, so I just went in there and killed it as if they already said no.
It was bad. It was just one of those shining moments. Like, anytime a girl who worked at Independence, you know, especially for a number of years, ends up on television, I think we all cheer, like, I remember Mickey James debuted, and I was like, oh, she was there, and then, okay, it's possible. It's possible.
It is. It's like, it's a one small battle won. You know, you keep just chiseling away. You know what I mean?
Oh, real wrestlers. Yay. Yay.
Yes.
Okay. Girlfriend got a contract. She has to go back to OVW, though, because OVW is the developmental for TNA at that time. How did life change after that?
My main focus, and I don't know if this makes sense to people watching or to you, but I wanted to make a promise to myself that I didn't change as an individual. I didn't want to become one of those stuck-up people who thought they were better than everybody else. And I hope I succeeded in that. I feel like I have. I feel like I've grown as a person and as a woman, but not my attitude. I didn't want to be one of those people. That was my main focus when I got back to OVW. I still wanted to earn my spot. I still wanted to be that person that anybody could talk to, you know, that person that helped out with ring crew. You know, I didn't want to be a diva. I didn't want to have that condescension to me. So that was my main focus. But people did treat me different, whether they meant to or not, and that kind of hurt. And that's when I finally realized that I'm never going to be a part of the family. So after that, it was kind of just like, well, here's the middle finger, and I'm going to keep doing what I do. And if you don't like it, there's the door, because I've paid my way to be here.
You worked hard for that. I remember after a girls' class that we had, and it's right after that. I know, miss those. I remember sitting down with you, and I remember telling you your life is about to change. Remember who you are, and remember who helped you get here. Still stay in contact with those people. If there's anybody you are having problems with, try to squash it now, because it's only going to get worse. And it's only going to get worse. People are going to change. People are going to treat you differently.
And I didn't believe you.
And you did believe me. It's okay.
No.
But you learned.
Oh, I did.
You figured it out. You know, the whole having that sense of family, I think, you know, family is what you make. You pick up pieces to form a family. And if you only picked up one person, if I was the only person that you picked up, even though I know you're not, because your man, your boyfriend, you picked him up there too.
That's it.
You pick up a piece here, you pick up a piece there, you put it all together, and that's your
Try to make my own,
Yeah.
you know, but it wasn't what I thought it would be. But I feel like I did everything that you have ever told me to do without realizing that I was doing what you thought, what I thought you told me to do, which is kind of really cool. You were always my mama bear, and that's something that I feel like more girls need in the business, because that's not something I had until I got to OVW. And life would have been a lot different without that. And that's what I told Maria Kanellis, and I tell everybody about that, because so many girls are so focused on bringing other people down so they can rise up, they don't realize that we all rise and fall together. One bad match in WWE or TNA means all women's, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter which company or which girl had the bad match, we're all lumped in it together, you know? People say women's wrestling doesn't draw, women's wrestling is just about sex appeal, but you notice how it's women's wrestling, not this person or that person. So it was nice to have someone help you and generally watch over you for the right reason, not trying to sabotage you, because I was sabotaged plenty later. But it was nice to know I always had that person to come back to and be like, this is what's up. And you would tell me stuff even if I didn't want to hear it. You were always like that with everybody, and that's something that's hard to handle, but it's something that people need. It's important.
Not trying to be mean, but this, then this. No, this is reality. This is the reality of the situation. This is why this is happening.
I just didn't understand why certain people made it a point after I got signed to tell me, no, now don't get an ego, or don't, like, certain people made it a point to tell me that a lot, and I'm like, does it look like I'm having an ego right now? Because I'm still at practice, I'm still working with all the same people, and I'm pretty sure you were the one sitting by while I was helping set up the ring. You know what I mean? Like, I know you've paid your dues and all of that stuff, but you don't need to keep putting me down about an ego that I don't have.
I'm about to get one, though. I'm about to get one in a second.
Oh, let's go joke on your
Keep it up. All right, so Taeler Hendrix, you have a contract. You're back at OVW training. Gut check is still going on. Other people are participating. The person, one of the guys at OVW, went on before you and won, and now he's under contract. Alex. Then, of course, with OVW being developmental for TNA, we had TNA talent coming down and working with the roster down there and the shows. I mean, let's give it up for OVW. The shows were incredible. The fans are incredible. Kentucky really loves wrestling. Louisville loves wrestling. Okay. They come out for it. You're not there anymore. What led you to walk away?
It was a really hard decision to make. Most of the people that I was really close with are gone. You left, Heidi Lovelace left, you know, Fang left. By the way, he's amazing. He helped me out so much. And a lot of people were just going, it wasn't the same anymore. Once it became like a TNA developmental, I don't know how it was when WWE was there, and I know people say it was, you know, a really hard environment to be in and whatnot. I obviously don't know what that was like, but I do know how it was when TNA made it their developmental, and it wasn't a fun place to be in anymore. It was very dry and not friendly, and I was miserable. And I didn't get to train with Rip anymore because I had a contract, and then even after I lost my contract, I still couldn't train with him. So I'm like, well, I can't train with the person that I came here to train with who helped make me who I am. So that really stunk. And then I just felt like I had a target on me because I was the only one out of everybody that lost a contract that stayed to work. Like, and not just work, I mean, like, I was still trying to go to practice and trying to make ends meet and everything, and I was at every TV, you know, most of the house shows. I was the only one that stayed, you know, and it just got so hard trying to push for something that wasn't there, you know, and finally I just told Danny, I'm broke, and I wasn't getting paid on time, so I almost got evicted from my apartment, and I need to keep a roof over my head, and I need to have that mentality. I want to be able to appreciate what I have again, not be this shell of a self that I used to be. So that's when I finally decided to leave, and it was probably the best decision that I made, because if you're not going to appreciate where you are and what you have, then you should probably figure out a way to do that, and so that's what I did. But it was really hard because, you know, I was there for almost 3 years, busting my butt, you know, but it wasn't the same after everything was said and done, and I tried so hard to keep on to the locker room that you created. Like, I tried so hard. If there was ever an issue, I tried to squash it, even if it didn't involve me, which ended up involving me and giving me heat. And I don't know, and it just, so many things happened, and it was just not a nice place anymore, and I felt like I just had to go.
Now you live in Michigan.
Yes.
You know, living the dream in Michigan. I saw, no.
Living the dream
in Michigan. That's what you're doing. I saw recently you're now wrestling for Truth Martini at his training facility and doing shows with him. And I saw that you just wrestled Scarlett. How was that?
It was fun. You know what I mean? Like, since I've been there, they don't treat me as someone who kind of knows what they're doing, which is kind of humbling almost, because, like, I have way more experience than what I've been given credit for, and like ring smarts wise, but I don't stick up for myself and say, hey, so it's kind of a good experience for me because I get to take a step back and shut up again, like you would when you first started, and listen to Truth Martini. And Scarlett's not as experienced as I am, so she was in the same boat. So we had a nice little match put together by Truth Martini, and I got the crowd to love her and hate me. So at the end of the day, I did my job right. And it was nice. I love working with her because she's a really nice person, and we get along really well. And I actually was hoping that we would end up being a tag team one day because it would be fun.
I remember those pictures.
Yes. Who posted them?
It's like, touch her leg. Now, touch her skirt. Okay, now touch her hair.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, it was nice. It was nice to get to wrestle someone who's also nice and motivated. Good experience.
We love Scarlett. She's amazing.
We do.
So what's next for Taeler Hendrix? What is she doing? What is she up to?
I am doing a lot of things. I am trying to get back on television, which is nice. I have things in store that I can't say. I am also working really hard to finish my line of children's novels that I mentioned to you years ago. Finally came full circle. I have a title and I have a person who's willing to edit them and knows a publisher. So I'm really excited about that. I wrote these children's stories that star these animals, and it's really cute. It's a collection of short stories. It's called A Long Book of Shorts of Sorts: The Fantastical, Nonsensical Adventures of the Furred Kind starring the Furred Herd.
It's way too long. It's way too long.
So it's a nice little collection, and there's probably about 30 stories in it, maybe. Okay. So that's why it's really long. So I'm working on that, and then I'm also looking into opening up my own online store. I love shoes.
Put the foot up. Put it up. Put it up. Yeah. It's hot.
So I actually want to buy a bunch of different shoes and redesign them and then sell them and have all my friends in wrestling and who aren't in wrestling model them on my site.
Because we all love shoes.
Oh, yes. So I'm doing that. And I'm also trying to go back to school so I can finally get my degree that we talked about earlier.
Finish.
Yes. Very motivated. And also, like you said, I'm training with Truth Martini, so I'm still perfecting my craft. Dedication. And I also have a meeting with a Hollywood agent, so hopefully they'll be seeing me on a different kind of television.
Oh my. Oh my, you're so busy. So busy. Well, thank you for being part of Diva Diaries. You are genuinely one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and I'm so happy you're here. The reason why I love doing these kind of interviews because I know so many girls, and I've been around you guys, from most of your beginnings and saw your rise through the business. I mean, we did it together, but I was a couple steps ahead of you, and I got to watch, and it was a joy to watch you grow up.
I made you proud.
This pretty young lady here in front of me. You don't make me cry. Stop. Don't make me cry. It's embarrassing. Okay, is there anything that you would like to tell the fans before we sign off?
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my trip down memory lane with Miss Sojo Bolt, aka Josie. One of my best friends in the whole world. So this was really fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you are also looking forward to everything that I have in store because I pack a lot of punch.
And a lot of shoes.
Oh my god, you have no idea. A lot of shoes. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and look more soon. I'd love to do another one. So.
All right, well, that will conclude this episode of Diva Diaries. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned because there's more to come.
Yes.
Well, it's main event time here at Queens of Combat. Serena Deeb taking on Taeler Hendrix. What a huge main event for the first night of Queens of Combat.
Ringing the bell for action.
I don't know who that guy is ringing the bell, but he's not doing his job.
No, absolutely not. Referee's asking to keep his eyes on him, man. It's off the ball. I wouldn't even pay that guy.
It's that open bar. That's the problem.
Full bar. Serena Deeb taking on Taeler Hendrix. Interesting about the two of these girls. They have followed similar career paths in their early days, both coming from Ohio Valley Wrestling, both trained by Al Snow, Rip Rogers, Les Thatcher, Nick Dinsmore, just a few years apart. Deeb came along in 2005, Taeler in 2008. So it'll be very interesting. I would think that they'd be very evenly matched in some of their core wrestling. Taeler looking for that handshake, not getting it from Deeb.
Serena Deeb looks like she's mad. I mean, she looks mad. Of course, I mean, she came from L.A. If you came from L.A. and you came to Charlotte, it's, you know, the weather hadn't been all that great around here.
Well, she did come in on red eye.
You've got to lock up, and both opponents trying to get an advantage. Deeb with trying to drag her over, but Taeler hangs on. I mean, this is a great matchup. Like you said, all that wealth of knowledge they were able to gather training in Ohio Valley from some of the greats of all time in wrestling. I mean, Rip Rogers, one of the best trainers around. And you could tell looking at these two, evenly matched. And that's why they're in the main event here tonight.
Absolutely. The very first main event of Queens of Combat. Couldn't ask for anything better. I've always liked Taeler's style, and of course, Serena Deeb's been a favorite of mine for years. So super talented. In the last few months, of course, she's had sort of a change of heart. Always wrestled by the rules until just a few months ago. Certainly become more of a grittier competitor, you know, just like you said, more angry, more vicious in the ring. As you said, that hair pull right there.
Taeler Hendrix able to hang on, but Serena Deeb goes to the ropes for the break. She couldn't find a way out, so she went to the ropes. The easy way out.
The easy way out. She's been taking lots of shortcuts as of late here in the last few months.
Deeb still sizing up Taeler here in the ring. Very smart wrestling. You know, you try to get in the head of your opponent, especially one that's evenly matched. Try to take them out of their game, and now we're going to go to the test of strength. Will this be what Serena needs to do to get an advantage, or is Taeler going to be right there toe-to-toe with her?
She could be. I don't know if I'd trust the deebiest one on this one.
Serena Deeb's in a very good position now, able to slide her leg behind Taeler's and is pushing her down to the mat. Taeler able
Great
to,
strength.
yeah, I mean, fantastic, able to bridge to keep her shoulders off the mat. Now she's going to fight her way back up. What strength from Taeler Hendrix. Now Serena Deeb seems to be wavering. She's being pushed down to the mat. Will she be able to bridge? So far, yes. She's holding that bridge, keeping those shoulders off the mat. But now, no, yes, no, maybe Serena Deeb able to fight back up. Deeb breaks that wrist finger lock, and now nice fireman's carry, but look at Taeler Hendrix able to grab that head scissors with her legs, got the leg scissors across the head. Nice. Serena Deeb trying to find a way out. Oh, using the ropes again.
And again, you're right, using those ropes to her advantage to get out. And as you said, that easy way out.
Deeb taking advantage, coming off those ropes, able to take Taeler down, and now has captured a headlock. Taeler Hendrix in a tough spot on the mat, almost with her shoulders down in a headlock. You're fighting to keep those shoulders off the mat, and at the same time trying to work your way out of that hold. Very difficult.
Still, you have to notice, Jeff, the more aggressive side of Serena Deeb, even though there's been no blatant rule breaking. I'm sure you've watched many Serena Deeb matches over the last 5-6 years. You notice, I'm sure, a different side of Serena Deeb.
Deeb very, very vicious in the ring, you know, very physical. She's still hanging on to the headlock. Taeler has got to watch her shoulder. She almost got counted out, napping there, trying to find that escape. Sometimes a wrestler just tries to counter something and catch themselves getting counted out. It's a sad way to lose the match, but it can happen. Deeb still controlling Taeler with that headlock. And Taylor's going to have to really work hard to find a counter. This takes a lot of strength out of you, fighting that headlock. Oh, Deeb hangs on to the hair to keep that headlock. Very questionable. Referee's going to let it slide.
And again, something you wouldn't have seen from the Serena Deeb of 2, 3, 4 years ago. You're not going to see hair pulling from Serena Deeb.
Now you see Taeler trying to get out of the headlock. She's gone to using her, a chop. She's using forearms, anything she can to loosen that hold. Bounces off the ropes, but runs into a big shoulder tackle coming off the ropes. Deeb steps over. Taeler went for that hip toss, but it was blocked. Nice counter by Taeler. Oh! But Deeb, look, rolls right out of the ring. You know, some people could say that's not, wait a minute.
Whoa.
Taeler Hendrix loading up off the ropes, baseball slide. Sends Serena Deeb to the floor. The action's going to spill out into our ringside fans again.
Looks like Taeler isn't scared to go on the outside.
Ow, big chop. I think Serena Deeb was not expecting this kind of, wow, another huge chop. I don't think Serena was thinking that Taeler was going to be this feisty here tonight. But it's the main event.
It is the main event. Taeler Hendrix obviously has something to prove. Quite accomplished herself, but I mean, it would be a feather in the cap of Taeler Hendrix if she were to gain that win over Serena Deeb.
Oh, she went for that baseball slide, but Serena Deeb saw it come and pulled the apron up to capture her, and now just unloading forearms into the back of Taeler Hendrix.
Jeff Todd, I can't tell, but is Taeler Hendrix caught under the ring apron?
Yes, that's what Serena pulled it up, so that baseball slide went right underneath the apron and trapped her.
And then the rake of the back.
Absolutely gorgeous.
You know, you talk about bending the rules. That's definitely bending the rules. Serena able to capitalize on it and has now pretty much complete control of this bout.
And another back rake by Deeb.
Serena Deeb now.
The devious one quite happy with herself.
She's asking for the fans to cheer for her. What she's doing in the, I don't know if she's going to get too many cheers. Taeler Hendrix could be counted out.
I don't think Serena's going to want it to go out that way, so.
She's got Hendrix hurt, and now she slammed her back into the side of the ring. That'll knock the wind out of you. Uh-oh. I think she's going to give some chops back. Ow! Serena Deeb she's dropping those from left field. Head first into the side of the ring, and Taeler Hendrix is finding out just how devious Serena Deeb can be. Hook in the leg, we're going for a cover. Only a one.
It's not devious, it's devious. It's
Devious?
a play on words, Jeff Todd. Get it right.
Devious. I didn't have that in my lineup.
I'll write you notes next time.
Write them real big though, because I can't see. But they're extra big.
Well, you do know
Like
which
the
girl
jitterbug,
is which, right?
like my jitterbug phone, you know, it has to be big.
After an old man leg drop by Serena Deeb, goes in for that cover, only gets a 2 count. And Taeler Hendrix is definitely feeling the pain.
We've got the ref cam in action here in the main event. Going to bring you some really up close shots of the action. And now we've got a big boot right to the face. Serena Deeb choking Taeler Hendrix in the corner.
If a referee were a Teletubby, he'd kind of look like that, don't you think?
Which one is he? Which one was the black and white one?
There was no black and white one. I said if a referee were a Teletubby.
Oh, okay.
You know, just let my jokes lay, you know? Let them be one-liners.
Diva now grabbing the legs of Taeler Hendrix. She's going to try to pull her out of that corner. Up and down. And now she's going to flip over jackknife pin. 1, 2, and no. Able to kick out again. Taeler Hendrix just surviving in this match at this point.
And you can see Serena's just starting to get angry.
It's like the more Taylor's hurt, the more Serena wants to punish her.
Serena with that knee in the back, just wrenching into her.
She's got a form of a surfboard right now, and that is a tough spot to be in. Taeler Hendrix, you've got to try to stand up, you've got to roll, you've got to do something to get that pressure off of your back. Standing up is a good idea. Nice counter, sends Diva to the mat. If Hendrix can just avoid, yes, nice. And a Oklahoma roll, 1, 2, no, unable to hold her down for the 3 and a clothesline. Levels Taeler Hendrix back to the mat. Taeler had a flurry there. She could have just kept it going. Only a 2.
Only a 2.
Diva just sizing her up. What is she going to do? Ah! Reaches around right across that throat. You can see she's trying to do a headlock, but look at that punch right to the face.
That was just a blatant closed fist punch, Jeff.
But she shielded it from the referee, had no idea what just happened.
And again, there's that attitude change of Serena Diva that we've seen.
Very devious.
Very devious.
She is dropping some haymakers right now to the side of the head. Now she's going to roll her up for a pin. No, counter by Taeler Hendrix. 2 and almost. Diva.
You have to respect the tenacity of Taeler Hendrix in this match.
She has not given up. I will say that right now. She is fighting with everything she's got. The problem is Serena Diva is just dropping some big bombs in the ring on her, and she's just hadn't been able to keep an offensive flow going. Now she's going to pull her hair.
And look at that sick smile on Serena Diva.
It's like she enjoyed hearing Taeler scream like that. Nothing technical about that, but very painful. And Diva is just stalking her prey at this point. She's going to pull her hair again. Taeler Hendrix is, I mean, there's nothing you can do, is just hope that referee counts fast so you can get out of that hold. It's completely illegal. Serena trying to go again, but a kick to the face, another kick to the face. Serena Diva, leg sweep, sends Diva down. Taeler Hendrix trying to gather her wits after the punishment she's been suffering at the hands of Serena Diva. And now we're going to exchange some forearms and punches and chops. Taeler Hendrix looks like she's gaining her second win, but I don't know. Too many more shots like that, and she won't have it. Forearms, a headbutt. A headbutt by Taeler Hendrix has stunned Serena Diva. She's able to whip her into the ropes, but no, reversal by Diva. Charges in, a kick from Hendrix, and now a big clothesline. Taeler Hendrix has now under chop. She's got this game going her way.
She's got it going. She just needs to keep going, capitalize on this. She needs to get on a pinfall attempt if she wants to get this win.
She is fired up and lifts Serena Diva up into the air, spins her down face first.
Here she goes. This could be it, Jeff.
Ow, 2 3/4. So close. The fans were like, maybe that was a 3. Many fans calling for a 3, but a referee says 2.
You see that frustration on Taylor's face.
She can't give up now. She's got everything going her way. She's just got to stay on Serena.
She looks like she might be sizing Serena up for something.
Charges in, crushes her into the corner, possibly knock the wind out of Serena. She's going to fire across the ring, but no, Serena still able to control the action. Oh! charges into the turnbuckle, and Taeler Hendrix with a bulldog has leveled Serena Deeb. If she can roll her back into the middle of the ring, she has. She's got the legs. 2 and no.
And you got to see, Taeler Hendrix is just so frustrated right now. She just doesn't know what it's going to take to put Serena Deeb away.
She was so close. She can't give up now. You got to keep that pressure on if you're going to beat somebody like Serena Deeb. Wrestles all over the world. A superstar in Japan. There's a kick to the side. Taeler Hendrix, another kick right into the side. Went for the high kick, but missed. Deeb able to lift her up. Drops her across the knee.
That roundhouse kick she went for is the kiss goodnight. That's one of her finishing maneuvers that could have gotten Serena Deeb, and that could have been all for her. But no.
Both of these combatants here are fighting, trying to be the winner here in the first main event of the Queens of Combat. A win will pretty much solidify your dominance here in the Queens of Combat. Serena now going for that front chancery. She's gonna back her into the turnbuckle, sizing her up for some punches. She's got some really swift jabs. Keeping Taeler Hendrix off balance. Now she got her hair. Look, you know, she's got everything going her way, and she's going to grab the hair.
Again, taking those shortcuts. She doesn't need to.
Deeb going to the top. She's going to choke her with her own hair. She's got her hair wrapped around her throat and is choking Taeler Hendrix in the corner. Referee is applying the count. She broke that just in time. That was risking a disqualification. She's grabbing Taeler Hendrix again by the chin, but Hendrix able to sling a kick up there right to the face.
Smart.
Oh, wow, what a chop. And another. Taeler Hendrix takes some frustration out on Serena Deeb right now. Flips up, grabs Serena Deeb by the head with her feet. Is she going to be able to flip her off? No! Serena Deeb able to counter. I think if she would have hit it, would have been all over. I mean, that's huge. That would have been a huge impact.
Taeler is giving it her all in this match.
Deeb is...
Oh, Deeb sizing her up. This could be the spear. This could be it. No!
Taeler Hendrix able to sidestep that spear. Counter reversal up to the shoulders. Serena Deeb tried to drop her, countered yet again, and there she is, face first. Taeler Hendrix has stunned Serena Deeb. That's the cover, and we've got a 3 count. What a victory by Taeler Hendrix.
Your winner of the match, Gingerlicious, Taeler Hendrix.
Taeler Hendrix scoring the win here in the main event of the first ever Queens of Combat. Fans, we invite you to come back and see the Queens of Combat again. We should be back in action soon. You can find out more at highspots.com or follow Queens of Combat on Twitter. This is Jeff Todd.